Yeah.
But oh yeah, okay. So here's the deal. Consecration is one of the easiest spells to buy, but here's the way it works. So I spend the 10 points, buy consecration, consecrate the ground, and then it stays consecrated forever or until I recharge the spell. So I can only consecrate one spot in my entire life.
Yikes.
Hey, it's a religion. It's all about sacrifice. And the thing I always like to point out to people, it doesn't work during total eclipses.
Mm. It does not work in the total darkness.
No, total eclipse.
Oh, true.
Consecration doesn't work during total eclipse.
But does that mean that you can't cast it in that?
No, it means,
or just simply the total eclipse simply
it stops working during a total eclipse, and then starts working again. One line note: put that in the book because we have lots of storytelling possibility here. It's like, why do they have to wait for the total eclipse? Because if they wait for the total eclipse, the land isn't consecrated anymore. So I could only keep this place safe except during total eclipses.
That's interesting.
It's magic. And that's not, and also that's not entirely a guarantee that my consecration would be a journeyman level spell would be enough to. I'm assuming that because sinking the land is an unholy act, that things that prevent the unholy would work against it. Because any druid spell that causes violence to others is an unholy spell. And thus can be prevented by things that prevent the unholy. But there's also the possibility that, I'm just thinking it's like, really, I think the proper thing to do is to make a note of the spot and not let anybody in here, which would mean we should build something on top of it.
That's going to take some time, yeah.
Yeah. And we're in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
That's usually an obstacle to buildings when you're in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I mean, they put these menhirs up, but this isn't keeping anyone out. Look, we just wandered in here like we own the place. So, well, I mean, that's that. We need to sponsor the building of something. I suppose I could make a petition. I mean, I'm freshly ordained as a political issue. I don't really have that much status, but I suppose writing a letter that this place actually exists and backing it up and making a petition that the church should build something on the spot. That, of course, would be an issue because the druids would want to have access to it for who knows what for. But acknowledging that it's a risk to the health of the land, it really shouldn't be open to the public like this.
Yeah, you can do all kinds of shenanigans with magical amplifiers like this.
Yeah, so recognizing the common good, I think we should make a petition that this spot needs to be fortified. Historically, fortifications are pretty rare in, well, druids based off of Celtic lore, and Celtic had tanistry, which made the inheritance of land very complicated because it wasn't always a clear line of succession of who got what. So you're not likely to build something if your children aren't going to own the same land. So that's why fortresses and stuff are rare and only in certain places and not always made out of quarried stone and other expensive things that required huge social apparatus to build. But we're not druids. We subscribe to primogeniture and thus have imperialist wealth.
Interesting, isn't it?
Welcome to Ironclaw, everybody. Let's talk politics.
I'd be glad to pay for that.
Where our game has been political for the last 20 years. You guys can't see the middle fingers I'm holding. So that's something. So basically, we verified this place exists. I think we need to go ahead and write our book that explains our treatise of what this place is. And how far away in the middle of nowhere are we?
You're at least several hours from a major road or even town.
Right. So establishing a garrison here would be difficult. We would have to have some people hang out here, and then their relief would take several hours to get here. Yeah, this is miserable. Whose domain is this?
You can find out, in a simple registry. On the top of your head, you don't know. Probably a minor lordling.
Okay, well, let's figure that out, because we might have to. Somebody's going to have to usurp the land. Lord Gregory's just a lord. He's not the king. Who is the current king, by the way? I remember you guys were having all this trouble with that.
Yes, the High King right now, which would be the High Lord here, is King Edgar, originally of the Isles of Corwin. Yeah, I mean, you can make a petition to the Lady Short Chamberlain.
Yeah. So welcome to the excitement. Here's my proposal, Spencer, that we make on 3 different fronts. First, we petition Edgar to usurp the land and reinforce the spot, recognizing that it's a danger to the health of the Isle. We make a petition to the church that since this place is dangerous, that they might want to sponsor the building of a temple, or, God forbid, a capitulary here. That would be awesome.
All right.
And, like a monastery or something. And the third place would be to petition. Well, there's 2 rich organizations of wizards I know. Do you still have insider with the Dunwassers?
I have insider with Cognoscenti. So a division of Dunwasser.
Well, no, that's separate. You have insider with the secret masters of mind control, which in many ways is better. I mean, what we could do is we could petition for outside money to be spent here, because I'm sure a bunch of wizards wouldn't mind. Well, I'm not sure they would, because you guys don't specialize in. You are the ultimate masters of the power from within. So I'm not sure this has a lot of meaning to you, but no, I think basically we need to tell people that this place exists and needs to be protected, because the current scheme of security through obscurity is not the best idea.
Right. Not when I have a book that could have led me right here, and it's certainly not the only copy of said book.
Well, and you never knew who gave it to you, by the way. It just came in the mail, literally.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, if anyone knows about it, now the question is whether they know the spell or not, but that's just a thing you have to know. Like, as far as we can tell, there isn't any specific alignment time. Like, it's not once every 3 times 50 years that you cast the spell. Apparently, if you know the correct spells and cast them in the proper synchronicity, you can blow up this whole island in any day. It's just a logistics issue, not a time issue, which means this place needs to be protected.
Right.
Okay, well, that's what we found out. We can read the runes on that are here. Did you say we could read these?
Yeah, it speaks of a place of power, of the stitching of the land. It almost speaks of the land as a tapestry.
Right? Okay, well, as long as we're here, I'm going to go ahead and take rubbings.
Yeah,
of the carved runes, because we're here.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll make a day of it. So I guess we're going to have to camp here and go back tomorrow. It took us hours to get here, and we're going to be exhausted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
In the meantime, back to Gregory. Do another gossip roll for me. This one will be mine, not Will, because you're trying to feel out the world around you. See, following the crumbs. Do take a D8. I want to do because Robert is not with us. He's going to be assisting from the shadows.
Okay.
So take a D8.
Good start. All right, and now here's the process of figuring out what I can add to this that'll make it easier, because I'm sitting on just 2d6 plus 1d8. I am trying to basically do negotiations to get closer and say, I have a deal, I have a good offer. Diplomacy would make sense, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So I'm saying, I'm ready to open the door. Let's see. Sailing probably applies, yeah. Heraldry, no. I'm not necessarily flexing my legal authority while trying to get connections to someone who's trying to do secretive acts like betray everyone.
Yeah, no, that's no that would be the opposite. Not because it wouldn't have an impact early and that you're someone to be trusted, is that it will also have the counter of essentially bringing attention to this. Because the moment you
Right.
say I'm a magister and I'm acting the magister, people go like, "Oh, really? Oh, now we're taking notice, right?" It's the acting in official capacity that brings, on
What
one
if
hand
we
it helps
just
you, but on the other one
captured you
kills you.
instead? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, in which case, this isn't the time where money's changing hands, but flexing that I definitely have the money probably applies.
Yes, showing that you actually can back up your claims is a good way to go.
All right, so I have 3d12 added on top of that, and I don't even have to tell anyone I'm actually a noble or that I'm actually a magister. I'm just saying, I'm a guy, I'm willing to open up, and here's the proof I have the money. So we have 1,
1,
2,
2,
3,
3,
4,
4,
5.
5.
I
Yeah.
don't need to roll the extra one. I don't need to re-roll it.
Let's say that by the time you get everybody gets back, you'll be doing this, but you took a couple of nights, right? Tracking
Right.
down because this person is trying to be secretive, including the fact that you met the old smuggler friend of yours from earlier in the adventures, and who said, I'm gonna go away and now I'll come back. So now he's still kind of coming back, but keeping on the down low, so to speak, on the smuggling side. And what you get is that he has Avignon had been recruiting because, and this actually wasn't that recent. There was an attempt, a plan, basically, with all the hits you got. It was a plan to essentially create a raider bandit group in, or one or more of them, in the areas that are controlled by the High King to intercept supplies, to cause trouble, etc., and pin down troops and
right, a full infiltration effort, basically.
and cause trouble just to keep pressure off and to even out the balance. But it didn't seem to work because while people are grumbling and maybe a couple of people took the offer, first the threat of the fact that this is outright treason in a time of war, well, death. Let's not kid ourselves to that. Probably with or without the torture that goes before it. And also the people are, in times of trouble, people try to close ranks around the people that they know as being authorities of the law and can protect them, right? And while the High King hasn't been in trouble, he has been mindful of keeping people fed, etc. Some of the things that you've done, before and now, liberating supplies, etc., have helped a lot, right? So, it was a failed attempt to recruit essentially, the equivalent of land pirates, right? Bandits too.
Yeah.
And there's been banditry before, but you even hear from one bandit group that the bandit group said, nope, we're willing to rob, we're willing to, do whatever, right? You don't hear directly from the person, you hear from, second, third hand. But we're not traitors. That's one thing, we're not traitors to the crown, right?
Right.
So yeah, people might be willing to rob and steal and do all kinds of things, but even they have their limits. And also, I mean, there's the fear that if they do this and they fail, and again the connection gets back to them, it's not, they're not going to leave themselves hard labor. They're just going to get hanged, all of them. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So incredible risk, almost no reward. Sounds like a great job to sign up to.
Yeah. So yeah, and you also finally get the feeling that because this failed, that Monsieur Avignon is having second thoughts, right? So yeah, you got quite a bit of information about what they were doing and why is what they were recruiting. At first, it was they were recruiting mercenaries, but that didn't seem to make a lot of sense. But now recruiting bandits and robbers and stuff like that makes more sense to sort of disrupt the opposition. But it failed. I mean, there's still a bit of banditry and stuff like that, but nothing that the local guards or the magisters haven't been able to take care of. One more headache to deal with, but nothing so bad as to disrupt.
Yeah. So we have a whole bunch of bandits they've communicated with at the very least. So there's plenty of at least trail to go with. Now the only question is, after spending a few days on this and with the 5 successes, did I manage to actually find someone to more directly communicate to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, make another roll. And
Another one?
You have a D8 because of you basically give yourself a bonus for the things that you've done before.
So we'll pop in a second D8 to the same type of roll then.
Yeah.
So I've learned a whole lot these days, and let's see if this actually gets me to talk with someone. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. You are cordially invited to a meeting a little past midnight
Mhm.
at the cellar of an old abandoned warehouse.
Ooh, very spooky. Okay. And there's no instructions like only come alone.
Not really. No,
Okay.
that would be a bit too cliche. And also make it too suspicious. He's like, well, we really actually want him to come. Don't tell him that they'll come alone. It's like, oh, no, they're not going to ambush me. Oh, sure, I'll go.
Okay. In that case, assuming this is like also the time period that everyone else has gotten back, I'll bring them along for the sake of security and being on the up and up.
Yeah. So you come in, it's an abandoned warehouse out by the riverside. There's still some boxes and stuff like that. And at first, it seems abandoned. You don't find anybody. Until one of you, whoever it happens to be, looks up and realize that there's several individuals hanging from the rafters. Several bats, in fact. And as you look up, one of them opens their eyes, smiles, and glides down. There are about 4 or 5 of them. Some of them are posting themselves up in boxes. Some of them are landing. Some of them are like doing the sort of the rebel pose, like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Looking at you. This individual comes in. They do have a gun. They have a handgun in their belt, a pistol. I said, so you're the one who's asking the questions, huh, mate?
Gentlemen, it's a pleasure. It's taken a while, but here we are now.
Yeah. We knew one of the fillies that was working with you. Good mate. Worked with him in the past. Whatever happened to them? Gone for a while. We be keeping an eye on you. You're a very interesting fellow. Never thought you were gonna be asking about Alan Young. Is that how you say it? After you say it, boss. Thanks. So what can we do for you? Hey?
Oh, well, no, it's what I can do for you and your boss Avignon, actually. I hear he's been having some interesting thoughts and feelings lately, you see. And I thought, maybe he'd like to pour out his soul to someone who could understand him.
Well, see, but the thing is, boss, pouring of emotions in this very complicated age of ours costs some silver. You know what I mean?
I do.
We have to travel over there and tell them that you're interested, and it's complicated. People, we need to eat and sleep, and there's not everybody that has rafters so we can sleep off on the daylight. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. And of course, if we've gotten this far, you know the substantial amounts of gold that might be involved then.
Yeah.
There's my emotions swell at the thought of it.
A man after me own heart. Yes. So gold it is. I like this. Well, you see, the real problem besides silver and gold is to make sure that we can arrange a proper meeting, so that gentlemen can speak to each other, gentlemen to gentlemen, of course, and that is a good offer, right? So that time is not wasted. So if you were to tell me, give me a good idea what you're trying to offer to the Capitan, maybe I can pass that along and, make things easier.
Well, I suppose it's worth a little bit of a story, if you want to sit down for a moment, and I'll take like a seat on like a nearby box or something, and I'll go.
Oh, sure. Go
You
ahead.
see, I had a wonderful time sailing around for a bit. I went to Triskalia for a little bit. Wonderful city, truly, but there's many a interesting thing out there on that continent, you see. There's this group of heretical natives. They call them heliotropes. They worship the sun or something ridiculous like that, but there is something very peculiar about them. Of course, they too like things that are gold and shiny like anyone else. Of course, as part of their unfounded and unbelievable religion. Uh, they love it so much, they actually managed to fill up quite a pyramid full of gold and silver. It was phenomenal, truly. I couldn't imagine anyone hoarding all of that all to themselves, and I only did the charitable, neighborly thing of taking it back to civilization so it could be shared. Now I've had it liquidated. It's not quite in the same form. It's far more convenient now, but I think that might give you a little bit of the sense of scale I'm willing to offer.
And he looks around and is like, y'all heard that now? It's gold. We're talking about gold here. No, that piques my interest, but still doesn't answer exactly what the offer is. I mean, you can offer someone gold to go to the loo, or dance on tiptoes, or shoot a man in the head. It happens. Gold makes a lot of people go mad in the head.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Oh, I forgot the
Oh,
important
pity.
part. What all of it's going towards. You're right. I'm so fleet. Forgive my rudeness. It slips my mind. I'm hoping Avignon will help me kill. Uh, Let me make sure I say the name right out loud. Will help me kill Edward, or otherwise stop his reign.
Oh, that's very ambitious. That's gonna take quite a bit of gold indeed. Uh, don't know if Capitan Avignon might be willing to betray his contract so far, but it so happens that he's positioned in a very interesting place to perhaps help out with that. Let's say, yeah, killed is a strong word. Maybe defeat, drive away, etc.
Oh, plenty of words we can use here, all of which I think would really be satisfactory. But
Oh,
I know
yes.
he's the man who could get it done.
Well, since that's your gambit and you have the gold, we can send a message. We can send a message and see if the Capitan agrees to meet you. Um, but one more thing, you would have to go to him rather than he come to you. He would be missed if he were to simply just leave his employer for too long a time.
Of course, it would ruin the opportunity. I'm willing to take that risk to go see him myself when the opportunity comes.
Well, there is this town on the Eastern Isle called Edgewater, fishing village. Not much, uh, but perhaps that's a good place to meet. Quiet, small, bit stinky, but that's just this is the way it works. You go there, you talk, you make your offers, make counter offers, negotiate, make some offers anymore, and well, you solve it. Should go with gold in hand, of course, and be quiet like, just in case nobody notices. I'll
Of
send word.
course.
Me and my fellows will send word ahead. Say, give us a week or so before you travel there. A way we can set everything up. Mind
Very well.
you, and I want to be fair, there's always a risk involving these things. So you better prepare. It's not that the Capitan is very good at negotiating. He's not going to turn out a negotiation. He's not going to sabotage it or anything. But it's risky, and I don't want it to come back to me that I did something untoward onto you. So I would warn you that you are going to dangerous waters over at Edgewater, and you get a couple of chuckles. It's like, yeah, that was
It's
a
not
little
the
rough, yeah.
it's not the first foolish or dangerous thing that I've done.
I would not want to be faulted for something going wrong. I just wish to warn you, just in case. I have my conscience clear
Of
and my back
course.
safe. Yes.
I take it upon myself, my own safety here.
Betraying a magister is a foolish thing to do, isn't it?
You're a wise man.
Indeed. Well, I better go back to the rafters, and I think you should be on your way.
Indeed.
We'll be in touch. Send
Right.
you a message through the usual channels.
You know how to reach me then.
Hi then.
And I bid you a good night.
Yeah, and they just scamper along, and they just literally just go up because they're bats
Mhm.
to sleep on the rafters. Although bats here can also sleep in beds, but these ones like to keep an eye out.
They're having
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. A day or so later, well, actually about a week or so.
Yeah, so we've
the
got a whole
message
week.
comes in. Yeah. So you're gonna do anything else? Spencer, Rafferty, you make the proper communications. They're gonna send a small detachment there to guard the site and see what's gonna happen. And they also consult both with the church and the local druids to see what best way to do this so that the site is maintained but also protected.
Well, we're looking at a long-term solution here. I'm talking about we need to build like a palisade or a fortress or a monastery on this, because if this site, people get at it, they could destroy the island.
Yes.
It's strategic.
This is the opening gambit, right? This is the opening thing they're going to do, and it's going to be in the long process.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some random person from nowhere, asserts this.
Well, you're not that random. You speak with the voice of both the church and one of the magisters. And you're doing it through the Lady Chamberlain, so she has a powerful voice. You're not as lowly brother as you think you are. Humble as you may be. And you are humble.
Just my humility.
Yes, you be human. So yes, within a week, you travel forth to the Eastern Isle again. Edgewater is again on the eastern side of the island. Small cove, like many coves here in the three islands. This is a small village, no more than 50 people or more. Right? You've been to places like this before. And they are told to meet Capitan Avignon on a shack overlooking the village, on a cliff face overlooking the village. And you go there, and it's a one-room shack. There's a captain. He is in plate mail, and he has several guards with him, about 4 of them. And he says, monsieur, seems you have an offer for me. Let us hear. What are you planning, monsieur? What can I help you with?
Which one of us is the better speaker? I mean, Spencer, you have negotiation, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you should do the talking.
Well, Goodman, we are looking to build a monastery and perhaps a wizard's tower on.
No.
That's not what we're doing. I'm sorry.
Sorry, that's okay. It's okay. Yeah, that I'm not gonna do negotiations. You're gonna do it, and you already set the ball in motion to secure this fight.
Okay,
that's a long-term thing.
Oh wow. Okay.
This
mission accomplished.
I mean, you've been investigating this for a while, and if anything, you can have Griffin, Gregory talk in your behalf. You debrief Gregory. Gregory goes, okay, we need to do this. They say, well, it's going to take some time, but we can get the ball rolling on that one, right? And also, an aside, brother Lester does get visited by his friends from the druids. Let's see. You're going your way back, and again, you're on this time around. There's no fog or anything like that. They're not hiding themselves. In fact, they come in about 3 figures, and they meet you on the road as you're coming back with the guards. And they're clearly wolves. You can see the snouts under the cloaks. It's like, brother, see you again. It's been a while.
Yes, hail and well met. So, have you given any thought that if the world ended tomorrow, that you may die?
It's one of the many thoughts I've given, brother, to many things. Any particular mode of death and or murder that I'm facing right now, brother?
Possibly drowning. So, my own research has verified the existence of these places of unholy power, the ley lines, as you call it, and so we're making our recommendation to isolate them. Um, Perhaps you can inform me about your own laws of why the place has been open and available to the public for all these years.
Well, we have been guarding the ley lines themselves. We had no specific knowledge of this place that you speak of. We have lost so much over the years, the decades, even the centuries. But we know that you are to be a man of trust and of word. And
That's
if
what
you
I keep
say that
saying.
if this is a place that needs to be guarded, then we will help guard it. Well, my brothers and I, brothers and sisters, I will focus on helping guard this place. But of course, any help that you can give us beyond, of course, what you're giving, which is significant, we will welcome.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Thank you for advising us on this. We were
And eating
hoping
all hope.
any specific threat that we should be looking toward. After all, this is an open place. Just anyone who wanders in might not be.
Well, after consulting the tablets, the same thing that created these isles before may actually just happen again. And there are specific agents who are among your very own seditious agents, both here and abroad, who are planning your very destruction.
We'll have to keep an eye on them. We will put them.
Yes.
We'll have to consult with our brothers and sisters. We do not. What is the term? We do not put them to the question in the same way that the Church of Sumer does.
You should do so with all haste. It is our recommendation that that land be seized and put into control of a higher power, either the state or the church. And I wouldn't want. We would seek to keep the health of the land as strong and vibrant as ever. So if you or yours have sage counsel to offer us on this time, you need to compose your statement and do it with all haste, for we cannot afford to hesitate to act.
Okay. Do you have not diplomacy? We want to convince them. That will be we want to impress them. So it's a presence, will, and what else? What other skills you could have? To
Negotiation, perhaps?
Negotiation, yes. It's not a hard role since you're on the same wavelength, but this is to press onto him that the immediacy of your case. I mean, he nods. Like, very well. We have our own contacts with the king. We will make a petition to him to help us protect this place. And if yours and yours in the church would have to help us, we will more than welcome it.
Well, I need to stress that I'm urging for immediate action. So that's why I know it will take time for you and yours to make a statement, but immediate action. We have found powerful magical agents who are willing to act on this immediately and without hesitation. So you need to compose your statement and send it immediately, because we're going to act unless you stop us. And I would hate to violate your social mores and be inconsiderate of your traditions. But action is important.
I welcome your wise words. And he looks at one of his companions. He nods, right? And he said some words that you do not understand. and you're in the main road, so the lines in the side of the road sort of glow briefly, and he sort of seems to walk away. He seems to walk away at a normal pace, but almost like if you blinked, he sort of moved faster down the road, right? Like he was here and then a little faster, and then going in the general direction of the capital city. So he's dispatched one of his fellows to press his case. He says, also, we would welcome any of the king's men who want to join us in protecting this place. If you were to ask the Lady Chamberlain to sign some guards, we would work with them. That would start the process immediately.
Well, just so. I mean, I nod and agree.
And they start walking in normal pace. They don't use the same magics apparently to move over. You Spencer and yourself, you have supernatural, so the magics were involved in that sort of faster than walking pace travel, right?
Right.
Unique to the earth magics that are here in the ley lines, perhaps can only be done inside a ley line. They walk in the direction you're coming, probably heading in the direction that you came, so that they will start trying to protect the place as soon as possible, right? And so we go to city, we go back to the present time, and we are in this check with either Spencer or Gregory discussing the matter with Captain Avignon. Now, before we start, so everybody's on the same page, Gregory, you can actually say on camera what you want. Have an idea so that we don't have Spencer guessing what he is, trying to. And so they was like, "Oh, but I wanted to do this."
Right.
Yeah, but you didn't actually tell them. So yeah.
So this is the moment where Spencer and Vesper come and actually tell Gregory what's going on, and I tell them what they should probably try saying.
Yeah, and you have mentors, you can speak on them to each mind, so that you don't have to say it out loud in front of the captain, so it doesn't look like you don't know what. And you had time to also on your way here to.
Of course.
So, what are you going to say to the captain? What's the offers?
Oh, what am I going to say to the captain? Geez. Good question. I feel like Vesper. I need to be just appraised by Vesper and Spencer real quick and ask. So you do want to protect it, but what of the magics themselves? We have the tablets, we have the locations. Is there nothing we can do right now?
Well, see, that's the problem. This is a spell to destroy the land, so I would suggest that we don't cast it.
Okay.
Well, from what I gathered, it's not. There's no spell on the tablets. It's an existing spell that was amplified by the ley lines in converging there. So it could have been like a group effort of multiple people casting Earthquake, and it just.
So
in normal circumstances, you could say it had gotten out of hand.
So the spell is technically ongoing, and it will occur again.
Well, not so much that as it's something that might happen again and could be prevented, especially if we hired some thaumaturges who knew of like silence or misfortune or even severance might make some difference here.
So, and just to make sure, you believe that to prevent it, all we have to do is prevent someone else from coming along to do something, not necessarily that we have to perform any magics ourselves to prevent it from happening, as if through inaction.
Yes.
Okay. So in that case, I will try to build a case for the captain. And we're just trying to convince them to give their resources for it, right?
I think I don't know if I'm the one misspeaking.
Oh, okay.
The convincing the Lady Chamberlain to and through them to the king to get the resources to secure this site, that's something that you already started, and the Druid agreed to this. Captain Avignon is one of the captains of the mercenaries who you want to have in to defeat the prince.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize like we already took like the entire journey over there for some reason.
Yeah, no.
All right, no, if we
I'm sorry.
okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought we were trying to like convince one of the church members still before heading out there. It's like, okay, if we're just at the captain, let's just go straight into the captain.
Yeah. That's what I've been trying to say. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood the situation.
That's okay. That it happens. It happens. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
We're juggling a lot of things in the air right now. So yeah.
All right. Captain meeting. Nice closed shack, all of us together. And we're gonna sit down and negotiate. So I guess let's start off the scene. Well, pleasure to finally meet you, Captain.
Same to you, Monsieur. What can I do for you?
Well, you've already received the letter and an introduction of our purpose here. Perhaps it'd be wisest if we just simply cut to the chase of it. You're at a very interesting juncture, and I believe that you are interested in perhaps jumping ship on your current contract.
I am interested in leaving this miserable little island. I'm
see.
interested in not having to work for a maniacal idiot. I am interested in returning to my homeland with my pockets full of gold and my belly full of happiness.
I see. Well, you'll be happy to know I am perfectly happy with both of those conditions, and I am in a unique position to fulfill them for you. However, I believe there's a certain cost to them. Of course, the payment should be more than enough. We do, of course, have that. We do, of course, have Edward to consider, and as you've mentioned, he is perhaps a bit of an unstable idiot, or as I might call, a little young. I believe if we coordinate our efforts together, you're in a position to get us close to him, and we could either capture, subdue, or drive him off in some capacity. Your forces are already in place. You have specialized knowledge and trust. Everything is in your favor.
L'enfant terrible is someone I do not want to keep dealing with. So this is what I propose. If your forces, I could provide you some information that will allow you a significant percentage of your forces to bypass many of the defenses and get within striking distance of the king's castle. Step one. Step two, at the appropriate moment, my men and women under my command would decide that this is not really worth it, and they would leave, leaving an opening for you to sally forth into the castle. That way, I get paid, and we suffer very little casualties, and we're doing it under the banner of, say, surrendering to your forces.
Of course.
Legally and all that, right? So if your forces made an effort to attack us with great virility and purpose, we have no choice but to surrender to you, monsieur. And in doing so, leaving open the way to an attack to the inner works. After that, well, it's entirely up to you.
I see.
Now, I know that you want something a little more precise, but my specialty is not as bodyguard. And he looks over where Harmon is. Or spies or like that. I am a man of arms, of guns and gunpowder. I fight in the open field, and I work within the laws of war and peace. So basically, you make a show of it, and we make a show of it too.
I see.
And perhaps I can also, if there were more to do with this gold, I could convince the other captains to look the other way. Be delayed, perhaps, or, oops, we did not arrive in time, monsieur. We're so sorry. The battle is over. That kind of thing.
Ah, yes, how terrible.
But that would be more expensive. I don't know if even with all your gold available, you were willing to pay for multiple companies to serve you. I will say this, due to our reputation, the keeping of We will not openly side with you. In other words, we will not turn the back now and fight against our former employer, because if word were to get out that we were to do that, then nobody will employ us in the future. And while gold today is good, gold today and gold tomorrow and gold after that is even better.
I see.
I hope you understand.
I do. And I think we've reached a reasonable accord. I understand you're perhaps a little bit outside your own specialty and maybe even your own conscience on this. And I understand. But I think it still should be sufficient. I'm intrigued by the idea that you could pass along this message to the other companies and have them agree likewise. Such an exit would be honorable, of course, for all of them.
You would still have to feel the face the forces that are loyal to the current effort.
Indeed.
But the thing is that over the time they've become more and more relying on our sources. He has been able to have to put more of them on the front lines, away from the Isles. So his defenses have become thinner and thinner as time goes on. He's trying to keep many of them on them as close as possible, but the local lords seem to be, well, getting tired of fighting a war that seems now not to be winning, especially when it was already against the odds that they were facing in the first place. He made a lot of promises of a quick victory and has failed to deliver in any of them.
I see.
And I also have heard that there are no more mercenaries coming, at least not for a while. So, yeah, this would be the time to strike.
I see. Then I think we have a bit of an accord then, and we just need to work out a few of the details. So thus, since this is the point where I go, all right, so he's offered up to hand over the mercenaries, and now here's a point where we try to figure out how that money works, how much he's getting, and how much we end up being able to push towards the other mercenaries. How do you want to handle that?
Essentially, you have to make a wealth roll, right?
Mhm.
You use wealth with your diplomacy and your presence and your will. This will be a will because you want to get the best deal possible.
All right.
Essentially, you'll take a hit on the money that you have. You won't be able to spend wealth for the foreseeable future, right? Even though you have the money that you liquidated from the temple,
right, it'll be tapped for now. I have pushed as much as I can, and saying I have more is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, also you're not trading here in silver. You're trading in gold, right? You're not trading in common coin because you're talking about talking about hundreds of men that you're hiring with their weapons. Essentially, you're hiring them not to fight.
Right. They've been paid once, now they're paid twice, now they're happy, and they just leave. It's wonderful. Everyone is happy at the end of the day. We're now Italy. So I have 2 bits of wealth here, and now I have to ask, how much wealth does everyone else have to contribute? I think, Harmon, you've sold yours off, haven't you? Yeah. I absolutely thought so. Spencer, do you still have yours?
Yes.
Are you willing to add in all of your wealth into this?
Sure.
All right, sweet. And I don't think Vesper, I don't think you have any sources of wealth right now, do you?
I don't, because I've been donating all that. Also, yeah, I have to inform. I can't. Yeah, I can't stay much later. I need.
Okay.
So sorry, this was pretty short, but thanks for having me, guys.
We're glad to have you around.
I'll try to be around more often in the future.
Okay.
You've been a very good resource today. You've helped me out significantly getting focus into the characters, so thank you.
Hey, I love Ironclaw, but you take care, guys.
All right, see you around. Okay, so we have 3 sources of wealth right now, and of course I have diplomacy. And now we just have to ask, is there anything else left for me to add? Because I have been building this character for apparently this exact situation. Nobility. I am a noble, and I have legal authority. Everything here can go exactly according to our design with absolutely no interference. All right. In which case, I think I've tapped almost literally every gift for this except heraldry. 60-12. Not to mention a D12 from just presence in the first place. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. you promise him boatloads of gold, right? For
I
him
promised
to
him heaven
invest.
itself, and he.
Yeah. And you get to essentially you manage to get all the mercenary companies that is with him. He's going to talk to him, but he's not finding all this money to essentially either delay or find an excuse not to fight, which means that the core of experienced, well-trained, well-equipped forces that Edward is counting on to back up his local regulars, it's going to be gone. Again, he's doing three things. He's going to give you information that allows you to bypass patrols. So if you land some troops on the island, you can get close to it before there's other lords can come in with forces and counterattack. That's one. Two, he promises that he is going to get the other captains to do what I tell you. And three, when the battle occurs, he has told you to essentially make a show of force to attack his forces, so that they feel like, because he knows that they're going to be put outside of the walls, right? Because they're seen as expendable. So they're going to be on the front lines, and that's essentially once you press the attack and make a big noise of it. Actually, not have an actual attack where you murder a bunch of them, but rather, make it a show of it.
Right, we do like a clash, we pull back, and then they surrender. Simple.
Yeah, they surrender to you, leaving an opening to attack directly the castle. And that could also have hopefully that will also have hit the morale of the enemy. Because now, they relied on those forces, and they just vanish. Imagine that scene from, what was the scene in Braveheart? Where, we have mercenaries from Ireland, we have mercenaries from this, and they come in, and they're like, hey, how you doing? They start, taking hands. You remember that scene, right? Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but that's still hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, because one of the followers of the character is Irish, and he's like, and so the English, in order to boost their troops, hire Irish mercenaries. And so they send the Irish mercenaries to kill, the Scots. And they come, this battle, they come running at each other. Whoa. When they meet in the middle, they're like, hey, how you doing, brother? How you doing? Hey, and they start shaking hands.
Yeah, it's basically like an Italian or during the Renaissance. Whoever had the most money just shows up and says, this is the army I purchased. How big is yours? And then they surrender.
Yeah. The thing is, of course, your force couldn't be too large because most of your forces are in the Southern Isles, and you don't want to disengage. So we need you and whoever else you can scrap together to be an expeditionary force to do a lightning attack.
Right.
Could be a war-winning effect, but yeah, there it is.
Right, and the Lady Chamberlain has been appraised of this and has probably done her own pushing for it. So we'll just have to see what comes as available to us.
As you're leaving, first you see several mobile plants. Let's say mobile plants here nearby sort of start moving away away from the beach, and then you feel like a tremor, like underneath your feet, like what the?
Yeah.
And the captain goes like, what? What is this? Like this is the first time this ever happened to him here. And then there's a more extended tremor. You even see things topple over, chairs, rickety chairs, and then everything's quiet. None of you have experienced anything like this in your lives. The Isles are not known for volcanic or earthquakes or anything like that. So yeah, this is scary.
Yeah. There's a warlock with the power of Earth just playing a trick on us somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah. And you even hear some shouts from below, from the village, like people having woken up in the middle of the night. The check is over here, and it overlooks it's a seaside bluff that overlooks the cove, and you hear people turning on lamps and torches and looking around and sort of do the thing when neighbors go and check on other neighbors, and you can hear some of the shouts and they woken up people down. This was significant that people go woken up and stuff like that. Yeah,
in our little peaceful village here.
And required Febreze. Which I should buy, by the way. Yeah.
And of course, I'll just kind of look at Spencer And I'm just gonna like put a hand on both of their shoulders, like, tell me you have the explanation. You said it would be fine.
I hate to admit this. I was a bit distracted looking at something
The
else.
whole
So,
world just shakes Spencer.
oh, the whole world just shook.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shit. Well, Spencer's obviously looking very worried about this. There are multiple sites, like the one that we are planning on protecting. Somebody might be doing a working at one of the ones that we can't even get to.
Which brings me to, I suppose, the question, Spencer. Where's the one here on this island? On our easternmost island?
If I'm sure there's a map somewhere, maybe
Yeah,
even
yeah.
in his book, and he'll point it out.
Yeah. And I'll probably just like turn to the captain for a moment and go, I say this with utmost honesty. It is good, perhaps, that you leave the islands as quickly as possible once we get this done.
I will, Monsieur. This is, and he's a man. He's an urchin. He's a bear, and not that kind of bear, but we never know. We're not gonna go explore that part of his life right now. And he's like, he's just. I heard the thunder of cannon and the trembling of troops in the ground, but from the footsteps. But this is inconsistent. If you excuse me, I'll be probably missed, so I have to return to my post.
I understand. And I'll
And
go with
he and his
Spencer.
men seem to be like, yeah,
A little shocked.
They're a little shocked and shaken. Yes, they're like, oh boy, this is not good. The question is, are you gonna go back and try to get the Special Force? What are you gonna do?
I'm going to wait on Spencer for a moment and hear his answer real quick.
Well, I'd say we should either check the site we know about and have been to.
Well,
Mhm.
I mean,
although that is under guard. So either there's been a bloodbath and then a spell has been cast, or nothing is there. So we should possibly, and more than likely, go to one of the other ones we do have access to make sure that it hasn't been compromised.
well, we're here right now on this island. Where's the one on this eastern island? How possible might it be for us to check on it? To see what has just occurred?
Well, if we make all haste, then it should be possible.
It's several days travel inland from your position.
He'll point it out on the map.
Mm-hmm.
After cross-referencing whatever map we're using with that in the travel log, showing the ley lines from here to here.
Yeah.
Then here's what I'll do. I'll stay here. Harmon will come with me, and you'll come with me as well. Brother Vesper will return to the main island. Tell the Lady Chamberlain what's happened, and when they return with their force, we will meet with them. In the meanwhile, that gives us some time to investigate, and wouldn't you know it, from our last expedition, I still have this sack full of food we haven't eaten.
Yeah. As you go inland, and I hate to say this, but this is something I think the Rafferty should be there for.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna have to leave it on an early cliffhanger.
That's fine.
I apologize. This cuts back on your time here, but I think it's only fair. As you're traveling inland, you're traveling to a very dark wood, right? This is clearly wild country. That this is a place where most people do not come to. You hear strange noises. You see the occasional lizard, flitter about, right? Maybe a herd or two, and even some more aggressive plants. But you thread in carefully, and as you come to slowly, the ground starts to rise. At first you don't notice it, but it goes rising, and then you open up into this clearing, And there's me here. There's a circle of stones, and in the middle, there's this sort of podium with this sort of semicircle there, and there's figures there around it, about four of them. Four of them around the circle. They also there seems to be guards, like armed guards as well. So there's basically two circles. One of guards looking outside, and one of a group of inside. And between them, and there's this. Spencer knows this. He can see. Well, others can't see this. You see sort of a shade sort of flittering around between the guards, right? Almost like a lookout.
Weird.
And you can feel the power here. So it's supernatural. You can feel the power, and you hear the distance of chanting. They're preparing to do something, and we leave it where the basically the shade turns around, eyes aglow, looking at the camera, direction of the camera, and we leave it there as you have, reach the point where the cultists have gathered.
Spooky.
So there we have it. Another episode of the Isles.
Let's do a quick mottos.
Yeah, Rafferty had to leave because of issues. Apologies for technical issues earlier, but we managed to pull through to another week. So let's start. Theta, we know that it's prepare to the fight for the fight of your life. And Spencer.
The best secrets are those you are not known to keep. Although I did share plenty of secrets, and I didn't leave anything out because that would have been stupid in this instance.
Yeah, time for secrets was not at hand. Of discovering, although you discovered secrets, uncovered them.
Yes.
So others didn't know you were keeping those secrets up to now. So there's that. Griffin.
I'm fit to be the king, and soon.
Well, you did spend money and acted very kingly, So there's that. So we have all those things. So let's go with end of session stuff.
Yay.
Let's see. I'm using the okay, relevant. End of session. I should always have this highlighted. Well, we have experience for role playing. Everybody gets that, including Rafferty. So we'll tell them after the session here in the Discord. Did you accomplish any goals?
None that were stated, but it seems like trying to get Avignon on our side was some sort of goal.
It was a step to a goal.
Yeah,
it gets you closer to defeating defeating
the usurper. Yeah,
the usurper. So there's that. So it's in step in the right direction, but it doesn't get you the point yet.
It's long in coming.
Yeah, and of course the briefing, which
we're about to do.
Yeah, which good to have Rafferty always with us, but not today. So your thoughts?
I'm definitely liking the way this is shaping up. We're now back into it. The Druid circles are still a bit of a mystery, and I'm not exactly sure how they work, mostly because, it's hard for me to focus, but also just, it seems like maybe terrible stuff might just happen anyway. So that's my kind of concern, where it's like, okay, we could build the stronghold, and then it sinks. Good. I do like that we have this wonderful little gambit right here in front of us, and we're obviously going to have a cool showdown, so that's going to be great. 10-1, we just slice off his head, given how sometimes he goes, but we'll see how that happens. But yeah, I'm definitely liking everything I'm seeing. I found out my character was built for this exact situation. Who would have thought? Literally every single bonus die I have is specifically convince the mercenaries to be on our side.
Yeah.
So I feel I've done effectively on this character throughout this campaign, even if he's not like the powerhouse that like Carmen is, or actually smart like everyone else is. So I'm very happy with how things have been going.
Yeah. Why be smart when you can be handsome?
Exactly.
And then there's Spencer, who I managed to pick the 2 perfect magics for this campaign, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been having fun, playing to my strengths. I am sorry that I got distracted today, missed 2-3 important words, and had to ask what was going on again. But
No worries.
that's me, my bad memory problems, and I also have schizotypal personality disorder, so that might have something to do with my attention span.
It's all right. We love you and all of your personalities.
Oh no, that's
Just the one.
not.
I know. I'm
Just
just
the
teasing
one.
you. I'm just teasing.
I'm more prone to delusional and magical thinking, so I've had to learn a lot of critical thinking skills just so I don't get suckered into Deepak Chopra's bullshit.
Yeah. Well, at least
Yeah.
magical thinking is exactly what we need here. So,
Yeah.
like I said, we love you.
And we would ask Theta, but he's
Theta, give us a thumbs up.
So I mean, he can type something.
Oh, yeah, he's gonna type something, and I guess while he's typing something, he did it over here in chat, smelling his own hand. What? But yeah, Theta, are you excited to go commit regicide next time?
Oh hey, yeah. I can read his face. I don't even have to wait for his words.
The thing I suggested 20 episodes before? Yeah, exactly. It took some doing, but we're doing it now.
Yeah.
It's just a different king than the one you suggested.
Yeah. So we done with the briefing. Of course, in the channel will have more plays on Wednesdays and Sundays. I find myself playing in the mornings Hackmaster, and of course DMing the last 1 to 2 episodes of Ironclaw. So we're coming to our ending. I hope you enjoyed the show as it go along. Hopefully we have a bang up ending for you. And I'm also running not running, but playing the Outer Worlds over at my channel, which is Lessons Learned 1. The 1 is very important, just the number, not the letter, not the words. And on Mondays through Friday, usually in the evenings, but also in the mornings as well. And Spencer, Acolyte, I should say.
Well, I don't have any shout outs to make anymore. The play by post game I was running has been taken over by another player after I've had some burnout. So I may go back to it after he's had his stint. But until then, I'm just me.
Anything else?
And Theta and I, we're here. We run the show. We have shows Sundays and Wednesdays. Come and join us for Hackmaster, Ironclaw, Star Wars coming up, Masks whenever we get around to it. What's our... Dang it, I gotta remember the names of all the games, and sometimes it slips for me. Let me check the schedule. Stream schedule. In the middle, we also have Myriad Song. And yes, I think I've named everything then. Pretty sure. Oh, also, we have board games, and coming up next week, another board game session. So come and join us for that.
So thank you already for coming. And we'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Take care.